welcome to Darkwood Part 2. Maybe you have or have not seen my first video, but if you haven't, I suggest you go watch that before watching this one, as both parts will connect with each other to help me explain the lore of the game. But if you really don't want to watch that video, I will summarize how we got to this point very briefly for you. Alright, I hope that clears everything up for you. So let's get into Darkwood Part 2 and Chapter 2 of the game, The Swamp. While we were in the underground passage, we wrote a few journal entries, but the one that I want to focus on is this one, The Way Home. While in the underground passage, I met a peculiar man. He acted strangely, blabbering about a talking tree, which emerged on a path to some house in the village. I need to investigate it. And upon getting to the swamp, we wrote down, I finally got out of the tunnel. The hatch sealed itself shut behind me. I am now at the swamp in an abandoned hideout. And with this information in mind, you now know that there is both no going back and a giant talking tree. Which isn't the weirdest thing that this game has to offer, but that's the first thing that we're gonna go look for. Heading directly north and finding a village that we marked with a giant tree, making it obvious that this is where the giant talking tree is most likely at, we come across the first new mob of this area, the human spiders. And holy fuck, these things are annoying and fast and stupid, and I hate them. So yeah, needless to say, we'll be coming back here when we are a little bit more prepared. So either way, we head back to our hideout, and on this corpse we will find a note. The note has a map attached to it, which gives us the locations of two things. A cottage near the junkyard, which we haven't even discovered the junkyard yet, but whatever. And the village with that tree, which we already discovered, so the map's pointless. The notes, however, are not useless. And two things real quick. For one, whenever it says like 1200 hours, I'm assuming that that's just military time, so nobody's confused. And also where it says we took photos, I'm assuming that that is a 6 and a 5, so I'm gonna go with 65, but it could also be 45. I can't really tell. But either way, the notes read as follows. Day 1, 1315 hours. The compressor is broken, so is the lock on the trapdoor leading to the underground. Had to use a blowtorch. Fucking moisture. Day 2, 1200 hours. We took 65 photos of the tree from the observation point in the vicinity of 3C. It grew twice its size in a month. Really quick, even for the local standards. Day 2, 1520 hours. I'm slowly running out of oxygen. I've sent 2 men to search the nearby junkyard. Maybe we won't have to go back for spare parts for the compressor. Watch out for the cottage near the junkyard, marked building on the map. Someone could be living there. Day 2, 1812 hours. At least 10 locals lurking between the trees. How do they know about us? We won't be able to gather our equipment in time. The risk of getting detected is too high. Need to and then the note cuts off. If you'll recall from chapter 1 of the game, there are plenty of mentions to people who are researchers. They're the people who work at these hideouts, and there are a few notes in the first chapter that describe the working environment, but not so much what they're doing other than just observing. But in this note, it's talking about locals lurking between the trees and that they know about us. I don't know how they wouldn't have known about you anyways. Your hideouts are fucking massive, but whatever. We didn't really do a whole lot of other exploring for the day, so we come back to our hideout and we get assaulted by a centipede monster, which is arguably worse than the spider monster, because what the hell is this? Oh, don't worry though. Don't worry, the next time I see this fucking centipede, it's on site. Either way, welcome to the new time freeze. As you could probably assume, the trader's not going to be here because the hatch is sealed shut, obviously. So what do we get instead of the trader? We get the three. The three visitors stare at me in silence as if waiting for my move. I can only hear the heavy breathing of the tallest figure holding the giant bag. As the tallest figure opens the bag, the room is filled with an intense smell of mushrooms. Apparently, they wish to give me something. And within the bag, everything that the trader had. Real quickly, let's rewind back to day number 12. This would be the day after we killed the doctor and right before we entered the underground passage to get to the swamp. When we talk to the trader, we get this dialogue. The man grabs my arm and pulls me closer. A strong smell of mushrooms assails my nostrils. The old sack covering his body slides down, revealing his chest, covered in horrid growths. It is fused with a porous helmet, pulsating to the rhythm of his breathing. I start to feel dizzy. Without loosening his grip, the man raises his left arm, bringing his forearm to my face. It's pale as paper and reads, "Do not open the door. Let's stick together." And when we trade with him, his inventory is the exact same as what the three have currently. A body of a man wearing a helmet. His head has been severed. On his body, keyed to tunnel 21, a severed head. That someone scratched out the word liar on the helmet's viewfinder and a weird book. This is what's become of our beloved trader. We don't even recognize him. He's been decapitated and the word liar inscribed into his helmet. It's heavily implied that the three are the ones who did this. Now, like I mentioned in the first part of this video, the trader told us that we are just going deeper and deeper into the forest and that the forest is going to consume us if we keep going. And when he tried to follow us, which is what's implied by the key being there, the three killed him and called him a liar. Now, my theory is that the three are working in cahoots with whatever runs this forest. And the reason that I think this, I'll have to explain later when we get to it. But for now, just know that I do not trust the three at all. We decide now that there's no point in waiting around, and we go back up to the village that we went to earlier. Upon going through the village, we discover an old cripple. Wait, bloody hell, you're alive? The old man extends his hand, blindly trying to reach me. You're not from around here, eh? You cannot be. All them lads are dead. It's only me. And he finally finds my arm and grabs it. For a moment he clutches my hand in silence. Then I hear him mumbling under his breath. I don't have anything, mate. Only this chair. Bloody hell. His gaze stops somewhere under the leaky barn ceiling. What? The old man suddenly jumps up. What are you saying? I feel his fingernails digging into my hand. Ain't no fucking tree that. It looks like a tree. But those faces, I know 'em buggers. Every single one of 'em. So close and so fake. They're not real. They're not. From time to time, I thank God I went blind. I don't have to look at them. The old man lets go of my hand and leans against the broken back of the chair. He sighs with relief. It disgusts me. It fucking disgusts me. This buggery. This fucking scum. All the time, I have to listen to its pathetic blabber. Complaining all the time. As if I were supposed to believe it's human. That it's me Zocha. Yeah, right. He suddenly reaches towards me with both hands, almost falling out of his chair. He grabs onto my sleeve. I feel all his weight on me. You lad, you've got your hands and legs, strong arms. I beg you, get rid of that filth from my village. I can't bear another day of that abomination wailing and sobbing. I want to die in peace. Fucking hell, I want to die in peace. Listen to me, I thought about it for a long time. I've had a lot of time to think, for fuck's sake. His eyes widen, his pupils are milky white. I can feel him climbing my coat. You need to find the basement, JCX basement. I remember it. It's right next to the tree. The tree is too large, so you can't reach it from the top. You've got to try from the bottom. Find the basement. And there, surely, you'll find the tree's roots. The bloody thing must have roots. That's where they are. Destroy them. Pull them. Drag them. Twist the fuck out of them. You'll find a way, eh? I know you will. The old man slides down my coat, straight into his destroyed wheelchair. For a moment, he searches for his stone, which he used to prop himself up against the muddy floor of the barn. Thank you, thank you. And it is here at this point that we do probably one of the most fucked up things you could do, and we hand a blind man a photograph. The old man grabs the photograph, feels it, then takes out a small glass object from his pocket and puts it to his eye. The road. The road home. What a load of bollocks. The road to madness is what it is. After that, gossiping, the man says, years ago when me eyes were good, people used to pass through here. They would leave their huts and go there, where that damn tree grows. They would often leave at night so that no one could see them. They went into the deep dark woods and never came back. Some of them would say they're going home, but most of them were silent. I don't know. The land has changed. The trees have cut us off from the rest of the world, but home, for me, has always been here. Then that monstrous moaning abomination grew out of the ground. It blocked the passage, and that's that. No one has managed to pass through since then. Maybe people found some other place. Maybe they died at the swamp, just like us. What are you going on about again? The old man leans towards me, scowling. The wheelchair? The war took me legs. Then those wankers burned my house and me pigs. But it was years after the war. They said it was to fight the disease, so they said. And my Zocha, the disease took her from me. All I have is this wheelchair and this land. No one lives around here anymore. Everyone is dead, only sometimes. The man lowers his voice. Sometimes I hear footsteps. They wake me up at night. The sound of bare feet against the floor. And bells. Sort of. They come out of nowhere. They move towards the trees, then come back. They pass me and fall silent. They're like a nightmare. A bloody nightmare. It used to be different here. First the woods changed. The trees started sprouting up everywhere. We were cut off. Then the water flooded our fields. People went crazy out of hunger. They fought over food. If you come across some wheels, 2 little wheels, so that I could fix me chair, maybe you would benefit from it as well. And really quickly, we'll get into the journal entries we wrote down. I met a crippled old man in the flooded village. He's the last remaining inhabitant there. He begged me to destroy the talking tree. He claimed I first need to get to the cellar located near the tree. That's how I will find its roots, which I need to burn. According to him, it's the only way to get rid of this abomination. And advice from a blind, deaf old man with no legs is the only lead I have so far. It's not much, but I've grown accustomed to it. And something I've grown accustomed to is changing my mind about a theory that I had, even though I spent minutes recording and explaining what that thing is. But in this case, I'm not going to go back and change it in the video. I'm just going to correct myself and explain what I now think after we have round 2 with this fucking centipede. Okay. Next time, don't worry. Okay, so regardless of that fight, let's get into what I changed my mind about. What I changed my mind about from earlier is I don't think that the 3 killed the traitor anymore. The only reason being is that whenever I was thinking about it, I was thinking about it in terms of they have his stuff, they are now the traitor, and they appear after his dead body appears. Thing is though, there are a few things that I overlooked when I was initially thinking about that, such as the key and the notebook or the weird book, whatever it's called, I forget. The reasons that I think that the 3 didn't kill him are because, for one, I don't know why they would call him a liar, because as far as I know, they don't know who the traitor is. Unless, of course, and my theory could still stand. They read something that was on his arm. If he still had some of the stuff that he told us written on his arm, they might read that and still call him a liar. But regardless, the key and the book on his body are our key to Tunnel 21, and it's a replica. And the book, which could be a replica of our notebook. And I haven't gotten into it yet, but I will now. If you recall from the first video, whenever I said something about the hunter's cabin, let's take a look at this now instead. This man entangled in some roots at a place called the hunter's house that has a bunch of stuffed animals in it. This surely doesn't have any lore implications about what is going on in this place, right? Right? And I know that the sarcasm was probably really hard to pick up on from that clip, but it does indeed have lore implications to it. And let me explain. All 4 characters that I'm showing on screen right now have one similar trait. They are all humanoids combined with something not so human. Obviously, we've seen and talked at length about the Wolfman and the Traitor, but the other 2, which are characters that we find in Chapter 2, are the snail and the mushroom grandma. You could probably tell just by their names, but the snail is obviously a humanoid creature combined with a snail, and the mushroom grandma is a grandma combined with mushrooms. And maybe perhaps you still haven't connected the dots between these figures and stuff like this. The person who is entangled in roots in the hunter's house from Chapter 1. Well, during Chapter 2, we come across other things similar to this, such as this corpse right here. Upon approaching it and examining it, we say the body is completely overgrown with roots. A dead lizard protrudes from the corpse's mouth. Judging from the stuffed cheeks and neck, more of them can be found in the throat. And this corpse right here, when we examine this one, we say hundreds of dead insects lie scattered around the body, but they didn't just die here. Someone has carefully prepared this scene. A giant dead centipede has been placed on the man's face, along his nose. And if it still wasn't obvious for you when you walk a little ways away from that corpse, one of the centipede monsters appears. Which means it's time for round 3, you stupid centipede bastard. Yeah, fuck you, bitch. You're gross and ugly and I hate you. Oh, well, shit. It just leaves. My bad. Sorry, I got sidetracked. But either way, back to the point. This root system will turn things and another thing into a monster. Some sort of creature hybrid of whatever 2 things were absorbed. And the reason that I mentioned all of this is not only so that I can talk about it, but also to give you this. The more and more that I thought about it, the more it made sense that the traitor is a clone of us. For one, it has our key, and secondly, it has a notebook which seems to be a replica of the only 2 items that we have at the start of the game. A notebook and a key. And it is basically expressed throughout the game that we are a part of whatever mission or operation was going on here. Assumedly the same mission that the old cripple is telling us about when things went south for him. Then those wankers burned my house and me pigs, but it was years after the war. They said it was to fight the disease, but we didn't do that. That totally wasn't us. We're a good guy. But regardless, just saying that we are a part of these operations, we would have been wearing a hazmat suit, and assumedly our character was probably entangled in this sort of root system duplication thing, and it combined our hazmat suit with our character, and through that process, the traitor would have been born. What does that have to do with who killed the traitor? Not a whole lot, but it does imply that a few things could have occurred. The traitor could have followed us, and that night when we weren't actually controlling our character, we could have killed him and decapitated him, wrote the word liar on him, because he has a key. He has a key, he has a journal, he was telling us all these bad things about going further and further into the woods, and we might have just been mad and killed him for it. Or, secondly, we could have had a dream sequence or a nightmare sequence, and during that, we could have killed him there too, because as we know, during dream sequences, what we do during those will have some effect on the real world sometimes, including but not limited to killing somebody. As for the three, they probably just stole his bag off of his dead body. There's a whole subplot where there's a thief in the village whenever the cripple talks about how people started getting violent over food rations and stuff like that. If you go into a house, there's the word thief written on the ground and blah 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 blah. Those kids are his children, the thief's children. So it's a little bit on the nose as far as if you knew the lore, but I don't really want to get into that whole subplot, so I'm just not going to. But speaking of plot, there's a few places that we have to talk about. For one, the wreckage site. The quote-unquote wreckage is actually just a little body of water, but in the body of water is an underground corridor. When interacting with it, we say, I won't be able to swim through this passage without an oxygen tank. And something that I never mentioned because I kinda just forgot to, is that we have a broken down compressor that we have to fix at our hideout, which can refill oxygen tanks. Kind of a convenient detail for me to forget, but it wasn't relevant until now anyway, so leave me alone. The second place that we need to talk about is the cottage near the junkyard. While walking through, there's a bunch of snails that are talking to us, saying some weird stuff, and we ignore them because fuck them. As we approach the cottage, there is a giant snail, which we kind of can't ignore, but if we do and we walk around a little bit, we'll find a very helpful note that labels a few dig sites and what we can find in them. And something a little bit interesting that leads me to a theory that I have is the little drawing on the side of this. The drawing looks like it is either of the trader or just in general one of the people stationed here in a hazmat suit. If this is the trader, which I doubt it would be because the trader seems to only be in the woods area, but let's just say that it is for a second. He does after all have a key to the underground passage, so he could have been coming in and out of this area grabbing stuff from the junkyard to trade with us. The more likely option is that it is probably a drawing of one of the hazmat people who was stationed here. This might be an area where they might have gathered some supplies or just found it, and interestingly enough, found some fairly useful items while digging around the junkyard. Just a little food for thought. The next stop on our journey is to go inside of the giant snail shell and talk to it. Who are you? The snail's speech is extremely slow and slurred. He moves his jaw with great effort. It looks like it's about to fall off. His eyes sag from their sockets. They dangle from side to side, trying to keep me in their sights. Why? Why are you disturbing my forced rest? His right eye raises with great effort and wobbles. Your face. What happened to you? The snail's jaw falls so low it almost detaches itself from the rest of the body. You scared me. You barely resemble a human. You should cover yourself. Yeah, no, I don't know who this snail thinks he is. I literally massacred an entire village just because a small child told me that I was ugly. Fuck you, fuck your town, fuck your chickens, fuck your violin, and fuck yourself. So if this big fucking snail thinks that he's gonna get away with calling me ugly, no, the snail dies too. Fuck you. Real quick, let's flash back to chapter 1. Before we left for chapter 2, we went to Piotrex's house. We gave him a tire, a fan belt, an exhaust pipe, and a rear view mirror to help him with his rocket that he was trying to build. After giving him all of these things, he says, "Yay, finally, I have everything I need. Go your way now, go now, please. I need to install these parts in my beautiful rocket." And then, off I go. I will wave to you when I am on my way to where no man has been before. Coming back to now, we can find Piotrex's body in a crashed spaceship in the middle of the junkyard. We can loot whatever's on his body and whatever's in the cargo bay of his spaceship. Back at our hideout though, in the previously locked room that is now unlocked, if we go inside of it, we will find a candlestick and the musician boy. And it is taking every ounce of me to not kill him, but we'll hear him out. I'm sorry. From beneath the mask, you can hear a horribly distorted, resounding voice of a child. Very sorry. I didn't know you were living here. The figure tries to turn its head, but its enormous neck makes the task impossible to complete. I didn't want to disturb you, mister. I just wanted to hide. I don't know this part of the woods. Everything here is different, and this wee hut here seems so cozy and safe. Please let me stay. Please. Don't chase me off. I've got nowhere to go. The villagers don't allow me to live in the camp. The camp? What camp? Oh god, the villagers are alive. I'll be right back. Man, I don't know what happened. I think I just blacked out. I had a weird dream about the villagers. They were still alive and I killed them again. I trapped them behind a boulder. Weird dreams, man. Weird dreams. Either way, now we're in the mushroom glade and going through this house, which is full of poisonous mushrooms that I just keep fucking stepping on. We get to the end and we find the mushroom grandma. An old woman sits on a weathered rocking chair. Her sleep is deep and peaceful. A handful of ripe mushrooms grows out from beneath her thick hair. We have the option to try and pick a mushroom from the woman's head or wake the old lady. We try to pick a mushroom and we get this. The floor of the hut is soft as a sponge. My footsteps are almost noiseless. The woman's sleep is too deep for her to hear anything. I reach for the most prominent mushroom and delicately pull its stem. It easily detaches from the old lady's pale head. We then decide to wake up the old lady. The old lady slowly opens her eyes. For a moment she stares into space with an absent gaze. Finally, she becomes aware of my presence. Wait, you're not. Her empty eyes now take on a questioning expression. I didn't expect any guests. She throws a nervous look at the door to her right, then gazes around the mushroom-infested house. She relaxes a bit. I suppose you won't tell me what you want, and you want something since you're standing here in front of me, right? Your options here: point your finger at the door, eat the old lady, or do nothing. And obviously, because this is such a sweet, old, innocent lady, we eat her. What are you doing? Leave me be. Go I bite into her body. The mushroom juice squirts onto my face and clothes. I feel the woman's feeble hands try to push me away, but they are too weak, and my hunger is too great. She kicks about only slightly when I bite into her face. I swallow one chunk of her sweet body after another, unable to stop myself from devouring her whole. Searching the mushroom granny's body, we will find a key to the room next to where she was. Inside this room is a child. When we interact with the child, we get this. The boy is standing under a wall overgrown with enormous mushrooms. He is visibly scared. His lush mop of hair veils a restless, wide-open pair of eyes. The kid is whispering as if reciting something under his breath. The boy cowers and presses his back against the soft wall, which starts to ooze a white goo. Our only option after this is to leave the boy in peace. To explain who this child is, we must visit the elephant family. Upon fixing their generator, they will let us into this room and we can talk to the quote-unquote elephants. The air is filled with a suffocating, sweet odor of rot. Who are you? The woman is wearing a heavy, ruined coat. Her voice is suppressed by the cracked gas mask she's wearing. Can't you speak? Did someone take away your voice? Two children hide behind the woman. The younger one eyes me nervously, cowering in fear. The older one just stands there motionless. You're not from around here. I would have recognized you. We may keep to ourselves, but I know everyone here. I would never forget your mug. The younger child pierces me with its eyes. The steamed visor of his gas mask betrays his rapid breath. Your god looks like that because of this fiendish air. Do you know? I bet you can't speak because you didn't keep your mouth shut when walking through the woods. The trees and plains are simply beautiful here, and the bushes bloom generously this time of year. But don't let the charm of this land deceive you. The devil lurks between the trees, and he gets to you through your mouth and nose. The older child's grasp on his mother's hand tightens. He does not lift his gaze from one of the hut's walls. And you're just gonna stand there? I know you want something, you leopard demon. You're not getting anything from us. I don't trust you, leopard gob. Do you hear me? I don't trust anyone who breathes this filthy air. The woman stares at me intensely through the cracked mask. Did you take my Marcinek? Was it you who kidnapped him? Talk. No, that cannot be. The woman stares at the floor. Her greasy black hair drops down on her mask. It's impossible. Stupid child. He went out and never came back. He was on about how his granny will take him mushrooming. I have no idea where I told him he can. Oh God. The boy cowers and presses his back against the soft wall, which starts to ooze a white goo. We kneel and extend our arms towards the boy. The boy is terrified. Slowly he slumps down from the wall to the ground, curling into a ball. The murmur turns into a loud recitation. One little bear ate a bowl of soup. Then another came, and there were two. 4 little bears made a sudden pow. Along came the 5th and took a little bow. We put the boy on our back and lead him to his family. When I take the boy into my arms, he starts screaming, reciting the rhyme over and over. This is going to be a long journey. As we pass the remains of the old lady, the boy stops reciting. I feel his hands tightly clutching my coat. Granny? As I cross the cottage's threshold, I hear him sobbing quietly. Now, some of you guys might think that this is sad and horrible, but coming from a guy who has sought to eradicate an entire village twice just because a boy called me ugly, I don't really care. Either way, moving on, we bring the boy back to his family, and we get a hint about something to do with a brother who provides oxygen to everybody. Look at you. Where's your mask at? And the gas tank from your gracious brother. His love protects us. It fills our lungs with clean air. And this is how you thank him, young man? Your childish behavior made him very, very angry. Now we will have to apologize for your stupidity. What the elephant lady is referring to is the shack outside of their house. The phrase that the boy keeps repeating is actually a combination code to the shack. 1 little bear ate a bowl of soup, then another came and there were 2. 4 little bears made a sudden pow, along came a 5th and took a little bow. 1, 2, 4, 5. The drawing that we found in the little boy's room whenever we went to go get him is a representation of this shack. Inside there are flowers everywhere, along the floors, and in the other room there is a body that seems to be entangled with the flowers and oxygen tanks. Not only do we get rewarded with an oxygen tank for bringing back the elephant lady's child, but we will also get one off of this corpse. And with that, we can take it to our compressor, fill it up, and then we will return to where we needed to use it. The wreckage site. Going through the underwater corridor, we will find the wreckage of the helicopter itself. There are 3 corpses to loot and a few notable items. On the first corpse, an assault rifle and a magazine. On the second corpse, we can find a rag and some rope. But on the third corpse, we will find a torn photograph. The photograph is a picture of the doctor. We can see the slight face of a child, which is assumedly his, and a woman holding it, which is assumedly his wife. And if I had to theorize about these bodies, I would say it is one of 2 things. Either 3 people who were looking for the doctor, or his wife and kid. Those are the only 2 people that I would assume would have a photograph of the doctor on their person. Either they needed the photograph for a visual reference, or it's his wife who had a photograph of him. And if it is that, and it is his wife and kid, why did you bring your kid here? I don't get that. You're a terrible parent. Carrying on though, we have one more stop to make before we actually leave the forest. That's right, we're about to leave, but don't worry, there's still plenty more to talk about. The place that we are going to stop is this giant black mass on our map. And despite the way that this may look and how scary it may seem, it's actually fairly simple on how to get rid of it. Inside of the black mass is a giant pig snout. When you hit the pig snout, all of the blackness will disappear. Inside of this black mass though, there will be lightning that goes off randomly. But there's also a shit ton of chompers, by the way. It's annoying to go through. There's just so many of them. But I'm not really talking about this place for any of those reasons. I'm talking about this place because of this. Where else do we know of where there is both a pig and electricity? That's right, the pig shed. This seems to be some weird fucked up amalgamation of the pig shed that's been combined with the world itself. And that's about the only reason that I want to talk about it, is because that seems really cool. And it is now finally time to talk about both escape routes from chapter 2 into the epilogue, and both of the endings. Sadly though, on my second playthrough of Darkwood, my recording for chapter 2 actually got corrupted. So instead of showing you the alternate escape route, I will simply explain it to you. And to be able to explain it to you properly, let me go through how you would come across this alternate ending by giving you the dialogue that you would have with the tree. The tree is gigantic. Its bark stays in constant motion. It swells up and collapses into itself as if breathing. I see human silhouettes growing out of the tree trunk. They're also moving, as if gesturing in slow motion. Dozens of mouths repeat their lines simultaneously, creating an unformed noisy murmur. Between the boughs, I catch a man's gaze. It's fixed on me. His body, similarly to the other beings, seemed to form an integral part of the tree. His limbs are gnarled and his face is grotesquely deformed. He's the only one to acknowledge my presence. His hand slowly raises, pointing to something on the horizon, above the roofs of the destroyed village. The man's lips are moving, but the ghastly murmur of the other voices drowns out his words. And this thing that the person within the talking tree would be pointing to happens to be the radio tower. Because within the radio tower is an alternate route out of here. One that requires you to not have to burn the tree, but to go through another dream sequence. To do this, you will follow the tunnel underneath the radio tower. Once you get to a certain point, you will have to activate a generator. When you do so, there will be spores that hit you, and then they will plop you into a dream sequence. In the dream sequence, you'll essentially be recreating what the prologue was, with opening the trapdoor, finding some items, whatever. And then it turns into a chase sequence. You will then have to run your way through the chase sequence as you get chased by chompers and whatnot. And eventually you will come to a woman praying in front of a mouth, and then you will run through it. The same mouth that you can see in the Darkwood trailer that I'm showing on screen. After that, you can continue on through the caves, find a shovel, clear the rubble, and then you can leave. And if I missed anything during that sequence, I'm really sorry. I'm trying to play this all by memory and just from the footage that I have, but I don't like looking anything up for these videos. I like all of my opinions to be mine, so if I missed anything, yell at me in the comments. I do remember that there is some weird amalgamation down at the bottom before you enter the dream sequence that tells you that you only have one chance at this. So I'm assuming that if you die sometime during that dream sequence, you can't open the tunnel again, and you'll have to just burn the tree instead. And whenever you escape the caverns, there's a little walking sequence. We come to one of the research camps that is studying the trees, more specifically the roots in the ground. There's a bunch of holes and then studying equipment and stuff like that. But I can't remember everything that you find there. The most prominent thing that I remember is a note talking about basically aliens. how there's some sort of life form, either the life form itself or the trees that grew from the life form, something like that, but it's in the shape of a honeycomb. And the only other thing that I can remember is a little sample of what I'm assuming is this alien in a jar. It's a little white blob, and that's about all that I can remember from this alternate escape route. I'm going to get back to burning the tree because we will get back to this whole alien thing very shortly. A little ways away from the tree, we can find the basement that the old cripple was talking about. Upon entering it, the entire basement is overgrown with roots, but we can navigate the roots to an underwater passage. Upon entering it, we enter a flashback sequence. Now, the funny thing about this flashback sequence is that it is 4 minutes long, and I can summarize it for you in 30 seconds. So here we go. You start off in a room that has a bunch of crates and a giant barrel in it. You go into the next room, and the room starts to get more and more decrepit. A hole starts to form in the wall, there's a dead cow, you keep going, a tunnel keeps getting dug, you go into the next room and more progress is being made, the cow's body is decayed even further, and so on and so forth. Eventually you go through the final door and find a barricaded off area, and whenever you attempt to remove the barricade, a black chomper will attack you and you have to kill it. Now that we're on the other side of this water passage, there really is only one thing to do. Open the valve, let the gas leak out, and set this whole place on fire. Oh, and just in case you're worried about this and the evil screams of the damned coming from it, just note that this is what was back there and you shouldn't feel bad. Upon exiting the basement, we say, the huge tree will not yield to the flames so easily. It tries to smother the fire with its roots. It should all be over tomorrow. And the journal entry that we wrote down essentially says the same thing. We set the roots in the cellar on fire, and the fire will probably continue burning until tomorrow, which is when we have to return. The cripple's blind eyes stare hypnotized at the huge flame consuming the tree. It's as if the old man could see everything clearly now. The orange fire illuminates his pale, motionless face. And despite the fact that the cripple himself is saying, "Come here, come now," he doesn't actually say anything else to us. When we do interact with him for dialogue, it just says that he stares blankly as if he can see everything now, which is weird. I don't know why that would be, but either way, we go home now and we're gonna wait until tomorrow. Upon making our way back to the tree, we see that the tree is completely gone. Only ashes remain. Going through the passageway opened up by the absence of the tree, we find the road home. On the road, there are a few things that we can find still. For one, a colorless goo sips from the cracks in the asphalt. We also find both a body frozen in place and the cripple trying to crawl his way to freedom. Just ahead of him, however, are bodies. Hundreds of bodies, in fact, all the way down the road, frozen in place, seemingly grabbed by the roots that entangle the entire forest in this white goo substance. Getting to the end of this area, we find a sign that says 25 kilometers to nearest town. Upon going that way, we reach the epilogue. Now, the epilogue is quite the walking simulator, so I'm going to briefly describe it right now. As you walk out of the woods, you will find a telephone pole. You'll find some buildings if you walk even further. There's a playground that has a merry-go-round on it. there's a game of hopscotch, there's park benches, there's multiple people sitting around, one's even interacting with birds and feeding them. We can even have a brief interaction with our downstairs neighbor. We will say good day to them and they'll say good day to you. And going inside of our apartment building, we see that nothing has changed. There's still the stairs to the basement. There's still the old bike that's been sitting here ever since we could remember. Going upstairs, we find a man who says, "Pleased to see you, mister. Haven't seen you in a while." And behind the man, we see flowers that are just as green as always. Even interacting with them, we'll say, they're still green even though I've never seen anyone tending to them. Maybe they feed on discarded cigarette butts. And walking down the hallway, we can see that some kids might have vandalized it. Yeah, it's still a little bit run down. There's a barricaded off door, and sure, there's a crack in the wall here, but it's still home, and home is where we want to go right now. Home, sweet home. The note on the table reads, "I've made you some soup. Heat it up." The interaction with the stove is the same as we've had throughout the game. We can turn it on, and we can cook. We grab the largest dish, and we pour ourselves a bowl of some well-earned soup. The door to our bedroom is locked, and so we have to go fetch the key from the living room. In the living room is our little dog. He's such a good boy. In the wardrobe, we can then find the key to our bedroom. After unlocking the bedroom door and interacting with the bed, we get the final dialogue. "It's my bed. The white crumpled sheets look as if I've just woken up. At last. I feel my sore legs buckling underneath me, my body becoming heavy and overwhelmingly lethargic. It was a grueling journey, 22 days of human torment. And with that, we go to sleep. A sedating warmth washes over me, a warmth of security and happiness." The rustle of the woods, stretching away to the horizon, kept the stranger awake for a long time. Eventually, fatigue washed over him, and the man fell into a deep, much-desired dream. Yeah, but we're not done here yet. I wonder what happens when you go down into the basement and follow the path to the radio. I wonder what happens when you walk up past this homeless man and look inside of the door to this apartment. Also, now that I think about it, what was inside of that crack in the wall? And also, I don't remember this hallway being this long. What? What's on the ground? Uh, Home sweet home, I guess. I don't know if you've caught on or not yet, but something's wrong. When we go through our apartment sequence, everything is the same until we get to the living room. We can move around some furniture and see roots. There's still roots everywhere. We never left the forest. The forest has simply mimicked our apartment for us. And what can we even do about this? We could go lay down in bed and sleep and pretend that none of this happened. But why let the forest win? And to answer this question of what we can do, we have to go back so far to one little piece of dialogue that by now you've probably forgotten. Hey there, friend. In the last hideout, look for an exit beneath the floor. Remembering this, we go grab the screwdriver under our sink and start tearing up the floor, looking for the exit. We tear up the floor and follow the roots all the way to the bed. We look closer at the bed. Fighting off sleepiness with difficulty, I lean over the bed. The springs creak noisily under the weight of my hand. As I cast my glance on the light brown construction from the plywood, I notice a familiar feature. They are elongated and arched. I can still smell the fresh sheets and the pleasant warmth of the quilt. We then look under the bed. I feel a gentle draught coming from the dark gap between the bed and the floor. We can reach under the bed. My fingertips brush a thin layer of dust, coldness, moisture. I'm touching something rough, but my arms are too short to catch it. I think I need to move the bed. So we move the bed and rip up the floorboard, revealing the exit that the sleeper told us about. We wake up naked on a giant bed of roots. There's people sleeping everywhere. Interacting with them will make observations about them, but we can't wake them from their slumber. The passageway down is blocked off, so instead, we head up the root system. As stated before, we can interact with the sleepers, they just won't wake up. But some of them are interesting, because it seems as though we've met these people before. As we approach the top of the root system, the earth is covered with thick bundles of dry roots that crack under my feet and old broken trees. A pleasant warmth washes over me as we see what is only referred to as the being. Talking to the being, we get this dialogue. I'm standing in front of an enormous being. We place our hand on the being. I feel an overwhelming soothing feeling of security and happiness. The vast valley at the bottom of which I stand curves upward, closing over my head, the rustle of distant trees turning into a single silent murmur. I feel I'm coming home, to my flat, to my room, with a window and a bed. We can't give in to temptation though. We withdraw our hand. I feel a heat emanating from the being. I sense my pulse slowing down, a calmness. I want to rest, come back home, to my bed. I want to lie down, to fall asleep. We have to withdraw our hand. I don't want to do it. Still, my hand pushes the being away. The warmth that was emanating from it disappears, replaced by piercing coldness. After pulling away from the temptation of the being, we go and find a sleeper who can help us. Masiak. The most notable thing that we can find in this new hideout is a note titled Desertion Number 1. It reads as follows. Who the hell are they assigning to us? Masiak fucked off from the shack. The whole night he was rambling about some Mark. I think it's his younger brother or son. I don't know if it was the boredom or the stress that got to him, but it was fucking unbearable. It was the third night in the row. We tried to silence him, but it's fucking Masiak. Better not risk it. I slid inside my sleeping bag and zipped it shut. I preferred to suffocate in my own stench than listen to that fuckhead go on and on about it. After a while, I realized Masiak is not there anymore. He left around morning. He took all his equipment, 3 liters of water, a sleeping bag, radio, gun, gasoline, flamethrower, his beloved spitter, and his lucky stone. And after having taken Masiak's beloved spitter, it's time for everything to burn. And as everything burns, and the list of survivors and people who died roll by, I just want to thank you all for watching. I can't thank you all enough for the support you've shown on every other video that I've posted, and specifically the previous Darkwood video. It seems like people enjoyed that quite a bit. I still have plenty of ideas for things that I want to work on, so you'll have no shortage of videos coming out from me. Like I've said before, I'm gonna try and stay consistent this year with at least posting one video a month. And all of you guys showing the support that you do makes it worth it for me, because I don't really know what I'm doing. I just know that you guys seem to like it and I enjoy doing it, so it's a win-win in my eyes. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here with me. And with all of that being said, I hope you have a nice night. And holy fuck, these guys are still alive? Are we fucking serious? They live? After all that I did to try and kill them, you're telling me that they still fucking live?